Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new year and a brand new season of Watch Out. I'm your host, Drew Pizzulo, and this is my sister Linsey. This is her first time on the show, and she is going to introduce us to a brand new way. Well, not even brand new, it's a different way of looking at time. Now, to give you a little background on her, she is a spiritual healer, a Reiki, past lives, and frequency specialist, an earth angel, and is studying under the Mayan shamanic student. Anything else I'm missing on this intro?
No, I'm currently working with the shamans in Guatemala and learning the Mayan teachings on all of these concepts of time and how our signs and how each energy that we hold interact with each other and interact through cycles of time that we live in this lifetime as well as in many other lifetimes and many cycles of time.
Yeah, let's start there. Now, the interesting thing is we think of time as being linear. Okay, so there's a start and there's an end, and a lot of people don't realize about lifetimes that you can have many different lifetimes. So I guess that in a way, what we're going to go through in this episode is how the Mayan calendar kind of tells that in a way, correct? Through energy?
Yeah, the Mayans never believed in the Western thinking where time begins at one point and ends in one point. To the Mayan, everything was secular. There were many cycles of time, and their calendars are very complex. So there's like 8 different calendar systems you can study, and they all work together. If you can think of the inner workings of a clock and how all those gears interwork together, that's a bit more of the concepts of how the Mayans viewed time, everything working and everything cycling. So the more we can understand how the cycle works, the more we can be in balance with what energies are coming and how to balance our energy with the new transitions.
Because as I understand it, time really doesn't exist. From what I had been told in the past, time is merely what? Is it actually a thing? Or you can have many different lifetimes, for instance, but you experience them.
Time doesn't exist.
Exactly. So in the Mayan calendar, in the Mayan world, time does not exist. You just experience different lifetimes one at a time, even though everything has already happened. Am I have that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But I just want to throw in something because the Buddhists believe that when we get attached to space or time, we experience suffering. So if we can let go of space and time, we can experience peace and this Buddha dimension of everlasting peace. So that's all of these cultures were saying the same things. They're all going about doing it differently, explaining it differently, balancing it differently, but in general, what we're perceiving right now as time, it doesn't exist, and it's only existing right now in the physical three-dimensional way so we can learn something from the spiritual end. So basically you're in a bit of a dream and you haven't quite realized that you're dreaming.
So it's
but
almost
when you wake up, you can then
it's almost
experience.
like the movie The Matrix.
Yes.
So
exactly right.
A lot of people are familiar with The Matrix. So if you've never seen the movie The Matrix, kind of explain to them how The Matrix and the Mayans kind of intersect.
Correct.
Because basically you're jumping into a video game, experiencing it for a little bit, and then you jump right out. Although we don't have the power to do that out of our own free will, correct?
Yeah, and what I basically experienced is, I do past lives, and I've seen many, many different past lives, myself and other people. What I also understand is that we're living many lifetimes right now. So that's another concept that we also have to grasp. We only experience this one, but there's many going on, many different lifetimes, different timelines, all intersecting, all going on, like the inner workings of that clock. And many different areas are pivotal points in our lives where many other things are happening in those other past lives. And the crucial parts of this life that you notice are also lining up with those lives. So it's very complex and it's kind of mind-boggling, but in general, try not to get hung up in all of the gears and just try to understand that everything is one, this concept of oneness. And things are very complex, but they're also very simple. And kind of to practice this idea of not being attached to anything, not being attached to an idea, an identity, you know, you are this, you are a body, you are, you know, this identity in this lifetime, to try to be free with our thoughts and free with our energies so that we can just experience all that is, because everything is limitless instead of limited as we are currently experiencing things. So I think there's a new energy, and that's kind of what Drew wanted me to talk to everybody about today, is that this 2012 energy.
Yeah, let's get to that. Everybody's heard of 2012. There was the whole big phenomenon. Everybody thought the world was going to end. It didn't. That is a myth in itself, because everybody was expecting something physical to happen. But really, what the Mayans believed is it was a new cycle in terms of energy, correct?
Yes. So in 2012, the end of the fourth cycle, it ended. And what happens when a cycle ends? Another cycle begins. So everybody was looking at 2012 saying, oh my goodness, it's the end of the world, but nobody understands what the Mayan concepts were, because everything just repeats. And now there's 5 cycles of 26,000 years. And that's how the Mayan kept time. So that whole system is the whole system of 26,000 years is basically a whole completion of a cycle. So basically the Mayans broke it down. There's 5 cycles, and we go into each cycle. Each cycle is ruled by different elements. Sometimes the female energy is in that cycle of time. There's 5 cycles of 5,200 years. So we've just entered, in 2012, we've entered into the 5th cycle. And that 5th cycle is, it's ruled by feminine and masculine energy. Our previous cycle that we were ending was only ruled by masculine energy, and the element was water. So this is the first chance that we have where our masculine and our feminine sides, and I don't mean masculine and feminine of people, inside the brain.
Explain that a little bit between masculine and feminine.
Inside the brain, there's a masculine side and there's a feminine side. And in the person, we're supposed to balance our masculine and feminine. So basically, this cycle that we're now in is a new energy is emerging that allows both the female and the masculine to merge as one. And the element that's associated with this particular cycle is ether. So it's an element that we haven't really seen before. All the previous elements of the other cycles that have been completed, we've seen water, we've seen fire, we've seen the feminine aspect, or we've seen the masculine. We've never seen a cycle that has popped up with feminine and masculine. And so this is really the end of this. It's the beginning of something new, and it's a chance for humanity to grow and evolve spiritually. And what has happened in previous cycles that the Mayan did document is humans destroyed themselves at this particular point. So if we don't raise our energies, raise our vibrations, and get a new understanding of how the universe is and become one with it and grow with it, then we'll basically end up destroying ourselves again. And from what I understand, the Mayans wrote that there is one more chance for humans to evolve again. That chance will be, we'll have to go through one more cycle of 26,000 years, and we'll get one more chance. We've already been destroyed, I think, 3 or 4 times. So, and humans have come back and tried to rebuild. And we've come to this point now 3 or 4 times, and this is the first time that I think, we really have a good chance of ascending and understanding new energies as they're coming forth. So in 2012, we all started to see different energies coming through. But I do want to say that this cycle isn't just that one date and this concept of the cycle just hitting 2012 and then it's just a new cycle. We are in a transition period. So from 2012 to 2032 is this transition period where new energies are coming in from black holes, basically being opened up in the energy field in the universe, and they're being pulled in here. And it's a chance for us to receive that energy and start to change and start to grow.
And would this also open the fact that for more extraterrestrial visits from different worlds, from different planets, to kind of guide you into a new transition?
I mean, just as there's dark and light here on Earth within the human species, there's also dark and light within the aliens and what have you. And I'm sure all of the benevolent aliens will be trying to assist us, but the ones that are a little bit more controlling are, I'm sure they're not all that interested in us ascending. So, in any event, it's just a way for us all to let's just keep focused on what we need to do, because I mean, we're being bombarded. We've got, the pandemic happening, and all of these things are transitional ways for humans to really stop first off and assess where we are, and then as a collective move forward. So as dark as the pandemic is, we start to understand with things like the Mayan histories that darkness is just a chance for people to understand something that hasn't been brought to light and it hasn't been fully understood. So it will give humanity a greater chance for the collective to raise and to grow together. So we're being bombarded right now with a lot of things. We have to, give ourselves some empathy and allow new energies to start coming forward. It's all for a reason, but there's no mistaking the fact that this is a time that everyone here is in consciousness. We're all going through this. It's a monumental time for change in the world that has not been seen before, hundreds of years and hundreds of years and hundreds of years ago. Your grandfathers, your grandfathers' fathers, no one's ever seen this. And it's a chance for humans to really come together and to ascend. Evolve, exactly. Evolve as a collective.
Okay. And, the Mayans are all based on, they believe in a lot of energy, correct? Different types of energy, as you mentioned before. And the chart I want to talk about today is, describe what I'm looking at right here. This is called...
Well, I mean, this is just your basic understanding of how the Mayans would view energy. So there's many, as I said before, there's many different calendars that the Mayan kept, but this particular calendar talks about specific day energies. Like, so when you're born, for instance, the Mayans believe that everyone that was born on a certain day received the energy of that day. And the energy of that day is a complex understanding of the inner workings of that picture, the inner workings of a clock, or of a watch, if you will, about time.
Watch out.
Yes. So picture that, and how everything comes together on that one day. So your Mayan name would be a combination of one of the 20 day signs with a number, and then with another, it's called a Trikana sign, and it's part of a different calendar.
Which is over here,
Which correct? Is over here, yeah. Right. So it's like this whole this one calendar coming together with this calendar, and that specific snapshot of where the energy was on that day. Now, that being said, you were born with that day sign, but you don't graduate to that day sign right away. You start with different energies. So the Mayans believed that there were 20 different tracks, basically, 260 different unique combinations, but you got 20 different day signs here. So you would have different paths for how each person would graduate to their day sign energy and then receive a mature sign energy. It's your destiny sign energy. So it's
so literally through your lifetime you have three different
you have the sign that you're born in, that you start into as a child. For instance, I was the death sign as a child, which means transitions, communication with ancestors, all of that.
Hence why she's able to specialize in all these fields.
Yeah. And then now I've moved into the jaguar energy. That's the shamanic energy. So it's an energy that can help change destinies for other people, but also it's an energy of high magic. So I've seen with myself, and it's not that I'm this, it's that the energy that's coming to me, that's working with me, is this. And it's something that I have to understand and balance within myself. And then as I graduate and as I become older, I will move into the wind energy. And so that's particularly my path along my lifetime. Now, it's even complex to understand because when you're younger, you work in a certain energy, but you have two balancing energies. The Mayans were all about balance. They believed the masculine energy, they saw a feminine energy, and then there was an energy right in the middle, the balanced energy. So when we look at Mayans, everything's balanced. We look at a complex system of time that spans transitions. The Mayans never believed that you were stuck as one energy. That's the most brilliant thing. You know, you've got the Eastern astrology, you're Taurus, you're Aries, you're Scorpio, and it never changes throughout your entire life. Like, you know, you're just that, and then you're subject to the...
Well, it does go hand in hand with astrology, correct? Because now you're going into
There's a lot of balances between the birth charts of astrology of a Scorpio with the in-depth analysis of the Mayan birth charts. So everything balances together. It's just...
and this chart tells you a lot about your personality and based on different points in your life, based on the sign that you're given, correct?
Yes. I mean, I believe that, especially... I've done all of this for my family for Christmas. I've looked at all of their charts, and I've helped help them understand what energies they're working with. It explains why you are the way you are in certain periods of your life. What energies you're working with that influence you to be something. It explains how you go through life and how you go through in transitions. So, and it's important to understand that as you're working with the energy and you're moving into other energies, there's no limitations. You're not stuck as one thing. You're evolving, you're growing, you're moving into different energies. And it's just very complex, but it's freeing because we're all moving, we're all growing, we're all evolving, and there is no identity of one thing all the time in existence.
So like a mechanism in a clock, basically what she's saying, in your lifetime, in this one lifetime, this will turn 3 different times. There will be your birth energy, your adult energy, and then your mature energy.
Destiny sign.
This will turn 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
This stays the same throughout your lifetime, correct?
Yes, your Trikana will
always
be with you.
Trikana energy will always be here even though this turns.
Yes.
Now explain to everybody what the numbers mean, which is the secondary wheel within the primary wheel.
So, you know, within that whole system, there's another wheel inside here that goes from 1 to 13. The Mayans believed that the ascension is from 1 to 13, the 13th number being the most powerful, the most understanding of the complete whole, and the first number, the number 1, being the unity. So it spans from... And we have to understand each number in the cycle is super important. Number 2 is duality. Number 3 is movement. Understanding how those flow. Number 4 is manifestation of the physical. It goes into a cycle that keeps moving and understanding. Each number is super important, but your number stays with you for life. So if you're a number 3, I'm a number 3.
This lifetime.
Yes. It's there with you forever. And the key points is to understand your number, to understand what makes your number important. How can you unify with your number? For instance, the number 3 is about movement. I like dancing. I studied ballroom dancing. I'm studying shamanic dancing, movement, rhythm, frequency, all of these understandings of how I can use my number, the energy that's always going to be with me as I move through life. So I think the Mayans really had a great understanding of each person and that's another thing I'd like to talk about real quickly. So if we were born in the Mayan times and we were born in the Mayan community, they would have had a system that would have understood what each day sign was going to be. So instead of you going to school to figure out what you would have done, they would have already known where you would have excelled. For instance, Drew. Drew is a Trikana sign of the storm, which means he's great in the community, and he is a serpent. Serpents are very athletic. They are also great in the spiritual world. They would have had a job, an understanding of where he would fit in his community. So for me, I'm the jaguar, and the jaguars are the magicians, they're the shamans. They would have separated me from the community, and they would have trained me separately so that I could be a spiritual leader for the community. I wouldn't have had to go through life and all these weird things happen to me, and then later I find out, oh, this is what I should be doing. No, they would have had me balanced. Everything would have been much easier so that I wouldn't have had to take on all of these challenges on my own. So I think it's just a different viewpoint. Today we're given the freedom to be whatever we want to be, to go wherever we want to go. But back then it would have been a little bit more cookie cutter in a way. They would have known who were the finance people, who were the mathematicians, who were the educators, who were the shamans, who would have been doing, everything would have been much easier. There would have been less murder, less fighting amongst the community, and I think that would have been a great way to go through life as well. But I think they did leave behind some great legacies for us to look at, and if anybody's interested, you can look at the Book of Destiny. That's a great place to start. It's by Carlos Barrios, and it's one of the first things my shamanic teacher had me read. And it's a great overview of how the Mayans thought, and the energies of the 20-day sign energies. Which energy are you? And it explains how you can look at that a little differently, and how you can see yourself in your own journey a little bit more completely.
And I guess the Mayans also understood about lifetimes, whereas normal people they view it as you're here once and then you're gone, and that's not true. Whereas some people are here for 3-4 times. Like I have 5 lifetimes here. This is my 4th. I have 1 more left to go. Some people are here thousands of times. Correct? What is the main reason for that? Is there anything that the Mayans would say that why you're here 1,000 times and I'm only here 5 times, or is it just something that your soul wants to experience? Because I guess the ultimate goal for everybody here is to learn, correct?
Yes. It depends on how many questions your soul has. So, I mean, I can just say from my experience, my soul is a very inquisitive. I mean, it's I wish it would just stop asking questions because, that's why I'm here. And I've been here many, many lifetimes. And I think the key for me to understanding is this level of acceptance and this level of growing. But I find a passion in teaching too. So there's this earth angel component that I've come to terms with as a teacher. And the teachers have to understand the hardest of lessons before they're able to help anyone else. So a lot of us are here repeating many, many different lifetimes because we really want to understand the basic concepts of the earth experience, of the 3D. And we basically want to take that with us wherever we go. And a lot of people are here just, as we have over here, this one, 4 or 5 lifetimes, and they're good, they just wanted a little taste of Earth, of the 3D, and then they're ready to move on, go back to the Pleiades or go somewhere else. So Earth is a great mixture of people that are really studying intently and people that, just souls that just want to come and go. So I think wherever we are in the journey, how complex we are, or how free and open, it's good to take a general stop and understanding of where we are now and what we've learned through this lifetime, And remember that all of your lifetimes are happening as we speak, overlapping. So this concept of people get stuck in, oh, I have this lifetime and this lifetime and this lifetime, and that's where people freak out, because I can tell you right now that the people that believe that you have one lifetime and then you're done are correct. But the people that believe that there's many different lifetimes are correct. Everybody's correct. It's how you view to look at things. The soul is so big that it can incarnate and experience many things at once. So at the time that you're done with this lifetime, you will have the knowledge of all of the other lifetimes. So
and that's the interesting
please
part.
Don't get hung up in the details.
People always wonder, well, how could you know about a future or past lifetime? It's already happened. That's how somebody can channel, like what Linsey is saying, where you're given, I guess, each sign, you're giving different qualities, you're giving different gifts for you to connect to the spiritual world, correct? Some people, like you said, the death sign has the power to connect. There's people that have the power to heal. There's people that have the power to talk to the spiritual world. That's how people know what your past lifetimes did and what your future lifetimes will hold, because they've already happened. So, like I said, there's no such thing as time like we think about it in a watch, which is something that is really mind-blowing when you think about it, because everything that you've been taught as a kid and growing up is total crap. And, so this season we're really getting into some deeper shit, people, because I want to really explore time and space in a different way, because there is more to know than just the 3D level that Linsey was explaining. So if people want to find out more about, let's see, what their Mayan sign was, or because like you said, it tells a lot about their current personality and what they're doing, so they can learn more about themselves and more about their soul, what would you recommend them doing?
As I said before, I think the Book of Destiny is a great place to start. Has pretty much all of your Mayan day signs and kind of a general overview of how the Mayans thought. So I think that's a great place to start, but I mean, if you're interested in more of specifics about your personal chart, where you are, I mean, I give you freedom to start searching and looking. I mean, and the internet's a great place, but also, I mean, you're free to contact me. I'll be happy to help you with that. Yeah, I think there's lots of different resources online we can find to find out what our birth charts look like, and kind of how we can understand how we can assess the different energies. As I said, I've just done workups for my whole family on everybody's chart, what that looks like, what they're moving into. It's very helpful to understand why people are the way they are, what energies are they working with. And it gives us a lot more compassion as we go through life with understanding how we all work together as the inner workings of that watch, everything's a fluid system working together. So, there is this oneness of consciousness, this unity, this wholeness that is the one being, the existence of the I am presence. And we're all little gears. We're all little parts of that I am presence, and it's beautiful to understand every different culture's way of looking at something and becoming one within this presence. So
now, fun question before we go. The thing where people think, like, sometimes you go to the boardwalk and you see the fortune tellers, and you see, people using crystal balls to get in touch with either past lifetimes, future lifetimes, or what's going to happen in the future. People often think they're full of crap. Now, what percentage would you say of people that do this are in it for, I guess, the right reasons, and some people are just in it to make money?
Well, as we're going through this ascension process, it's very important for us to keep in mind that the ego has to be in balance. So again, I'm number 3, and 3 is mind, body, and soul. All 3 has to be in balance for us to evolve and ascend. And there's many teachers that are very talented and can tell you a lot of different things. But I think what holds them back is when they get to a certain point, their ego takes over and it becomes, I can do this that someone else can't. And that's where I come in, and trying to educate people, because I love to train people to do this for themselves. I really do believe that if you have the passion, you have the dedication to something, anybody can do this. This is collecting to the one consciousness. This is like ascending to that one consciousness, and we're all one being.
Well, you talk about like intuitive self. So,
Yeah.
for instance, you can get answers from the spirit world, whereas my sign and my gift that I've been giving, I get a feeling when I ask a yes or no question. I can ask and I get it in a different way. So I guess everybody, once you unlock that gift that they're given, they'll be able to tell it in a different way, correct?
Everybody's unique, and information will come to them in their own unique way.
Just have to know how to ask
There
it.
is no trying to be like someone else. There is, you're going to look at other teachers and you're going to be like, hey, I wish I was like this person. I wish I had that gift. And, you have your own special gifts that you can give the world, and how the unique perspective of how you've lived your life. And so, I think every teacher has their own gift. Every student has their own gift. And it's important to go through life and be inspired by others, but it's important to also understand what you can bring. And I would caution everyone, as we're developing and as we're moving to this ascended consciousness, that we really have to keep our egos in check. And no matter how amazing we become through this ascension process, it really is one step closer to being one with the whole. And there's no understanding of I'm greater than him or he's greater than me. That doesn't exist anymore. The closer we get to this one consciousness, this one being in the presence of the one being unified with all, the more we realize that he is me, I am him. And everything you see in the external is just a mirror. It's just a mirror of yourself, of your internal. So if there's something wrong here, you're going to see it through your friends, family, through your relationships. So that's what we need to keep in mind going forward, is balance with all.
And don't get caught up on the physical. If you see somebody like a fortune teller and you think they may be full of crap because they use a crystal ball, the ball, you're focusing on the wrong aspect, correct? Because the ball is actually what?
I have a crystal ball in the other room,
correct.
And I use it. It's quartz. Quartz is an enhancer. So the energy that you're carrying within you through your Mayan day sign or through your soul energy is with you. But when you use quartz, it enhances. It enhances your aura. It enhances the abilities of what you can do.
Allows you to see the vision clearer.
Yes. So when I look into a crystal ball, for instance, I usually just use it for meditation because it helps me see my inside. I'm using something on the outside as a mirror to see within myself. So it's just enhancing what I can already do. And if I get stuck in my brain, I can use something on the external to kind of meditate, clear everything, and then ask my questions. So, it's just a tool. It's like painting, drawing. It's just picking up a different tool and being able to use it within your scope and what you do.
Yeah, interesting. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us for this episode. Again, if you have any questions, I'm sure this episode will probably blow up on a spiritual level. So there will probably be many questions to come from this. You could also contact my sister.
Yeah, and Drew will give the contact information in the end of this.
Correct.
Segment.
I can do it on the bottom part of the edit area when you guys see this episode. So she'd love to help you out or guide you to somebody who can help you out. And again, any questions, thoughts, suggestions for new episodes coming up, I will be here as we kick off 2022. And thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode of Watch Out.
Bye.